Welcome to another episode of Fans in Motion, as Andy would say, the only podcast you didn't know you need. And then he says something else and some song lyrics. And if you remember the last episode, I think he did like 2.5 songs worth of lyrics. We're not going to do that. But today we have this very special guest, very special. Joining Robyn, Lisa, and I is the man, the myth, the legend, all around gentleman, Mr. Eric Levy of Night Ranger. Let's give him a hand.
Woo.
There we go.
Oh, thank you. It's
Eric,
always
Eric.
a pleasure hanging with you guys. Yeah, for sure.
I definitely think what is this? Probably the 5th, 6th time you've joined us. What is it, Saturday Night Live? If you host 5 times, you get like a special robe or coat or something. And
well, you did send me a Fans in Motion t-shirt. So.
Yes, there you go.
I could have been wearing that today, actually.
Listen, you be careful wearing that. The ladies will try to tear it off of you because those are sought after. Yeah. Oh, we got a Wing Chun. Oh, that's a good one.
Still doing it.
That's a good one. Yeah, we're still messing with Lisa's connection, so don't be distracted when she starts Wing Chun. So with this episode, I posted on the Facebook page that we were going to have Mr. Eric Levy of Night Ranger Garage Mahal on the episode, and
Garage Mahal gets a mention. I love it.
Yeah, or American Drag. We can even go back to that.
Wow, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or the what was the other band? The Breadsticks or something like that. What was
Burnt Toast.
Burnt Toast.
That was my working successful. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
Northwest suburbs of Chicago. Yeah.
I knew it was a flower product. Yeah, put on the Facebook page. Listen, you have a question for Mr. Eric Levy of Night Ranger, Garage Mahal, and Burnt Toast. And people were like, yes, we do. And then they put them in the comment section, and we shall go through them right now. So
wonderful.
Strap on your safety belts. Get ready to rocket through the sky, because we are going to let it run and get Eric Levy some questions. So the first question, Eric Levy. Well, the first person that commented when I said, hey, leave a comment below if you want, to ask Eric Levy a question. And Marty Leclerc just said no.
I laughed so hard at that. Your comment too.
Well, I just wrote, fuck, what are we going to do now? And then she replied, I do not know. So, I'm always amazed
Good stuff.
Like you're like you'll be out in public and you run into people and like I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, how did this fucking person live to be 53 or however old they are? You think they would just like walked off a cliff somewhere, just not paying attention or something. But anyways, that was the first one. I got off to a great start. Amanda Orlowski. She's probably pronouncing her last name wrong. What is your favorite song, Eric Levy, to perform?
Oh, wow. I guess it sounds cliche, I know, but like Sister Christian, for it to be a keyboard player, that's just a special. I mean, that's that's not the kind of moment for a keyboard player you get in other bands, where it's like I start the song and then it's Kelly starts singing it, and inevitably at some point he just turns it over to the crowd, and it's like wherever we are, people know that song, and so I get to just be hanging out, playing, accompanying this all these people singing out there. I mean, that's just I never want to take that moment for granted, and as I that's special. But as far as like for songs we don't play all that often, I love Call My Name. Oh man, Jack kills that one, and it's like this slow like kind of build up, and by the time we get to the end, and the guitar solo, and it's totally epic. And yeah, love it.
Lisa, Robyn, what did you guys think of Call My Name at the second annual Danny Repepe Memorial Concert in Cleveland at the Playhouse Theater at whatever square, featuring the Contemporary Youth Orchestra?
Oh, I was so happy they played that. Yeah.
Robyn.
Oh, nice to hear.
But yeah, it was Playhouse. And I mean, I think I had seen them do at Son like once or twice before the show, but with the orchestra, I could hear it a little bit. I couldn't hear it as well where I was at, like down in the orchestra pit. I was probably fifth row. So, but I mean, it
right
always
on.
sounds good.
I saw the rough, some rough cuts of, the DVD that's going to come out. Not the final product, but I made sure that, I got to see Call My Name, and it's good.
It looks
I can't wait for
unbelievable.
all the
Brian Isley, shout out to Brian Isley. He's the one who shot our Truth video as well. He hit it out of the park. Like, yeah, the footage I've seen, just unbelievable. And he and his crew were just like, the easiest people to be around and working with. I can't say enough great things about him. Yeah,
it's going to be a great release. So there you go. Eric's favorite songs performed, Sister Christian, Call My Name. Now, I was going to my guess would have been a song probably like starts out like maybe Eddie's Coming Out Tonight or something like that. A song where you're not actually playing, but it gives you time to do those 12-ounce curls real quick.
I actually am playing at the beginning of Eddie's Coming Out Tonight, and I have to use both hands, so it'd be kind of tough to
all right.
shut the ear. I'd need Carrie to be like pouring it in my mouth for me while I'm holding it down.
What's going to work? Teamwork. So there you go, Amanda. There's the answer you so desired. Carrie Ann Supton. She wants to know, do you have any pets?
Oh, not at this time. No, not at this time. And it's not that I don't like animals per se. It's the responsibility of it, and my kids want pets for sure. But every time the conversation comes up, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, which one of you is going to volunteer to, like, take each little like piece of dog hair off all my stage clothes before I have to leave on tour every weekend? And nobody volunteers. So
That sounds like a Repepe job.
Oh no, he has enough jobs.
Like, you basically give him a jacket that looks like a German Shepherd. I need this cleaned up, bud. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've been thinking about getting my kid a dog, but I've always been a cat guy because I'm very fond of animals that poop in boxes. So
cats are my favorite too. Absolutely.
Nice.
I grew up with, we had 5 cats. The majority of my growing up years, they were all over the place. Yeah. It would be fun eventually, I guess. Or once they come up with some kind of formula where cats don't shed anymore, then I'm all in.
Yeah. Well, I think if you have young children, I think that kind of qualifies as pets. You're cleaning up shit and throw up everywhere. So, I mean, same thing, right? Michelle Webb. She wants to know, inquiring minds, my friend, is Jack Blades happily married, or do I have a chance with him?
That's a question for me.
Yeah.
Jack is happily married. Molly is wonderful, absolutely wonderful human being. I'm not going to say you don't have a chance, though. What do I know?
Yeah, I mean, Michelle, with the right amount of sedatives and duct tape, anything's possible. Speaking from experience. And hey, you know what? Maybe set your sights on Brent or Andy. Chris Maneo, something like that. Sorry, Chris, if you pronounce your name incorrectly. When is Night Ranger coming to Utica, New York? Eric, when? Not just New York, Utica.
Utica, wow. My favorite memory of Utica, I think Night Ranger had a show, like a pre-hockey game show in Utica. And I remember the Hanson brothers were there, like from that old movie.
Slapshot.
Slapshot, thank you.
All new.
Yeah, I thought, and they had like the Chiefs jersey. I was like, that's just the coolest. So but we played this show outdoors, and it was like freezing cold, and it was like raining sideways. So it's like raining on my keyboard, and I'm like, I hope it keeps working. I'll just keep playing. But everything went great. And then we went inside the venue and sang the national anthem. And unfortunately, though, we didn't stick around for the hockey game after all that. But Utica, New York, upstate New York in general, just salt of the earth. People there are absolutely wonderful. Would love to be back there anytime.
We need Lisa and Robyn for your homework for next week is to watch Slapshot.
I should watch it again too. It's been a while.
It has been for me as well.
I've never even heard of it.
Really? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
check it
there
out.
You go. And back it up with Strange Brew while you're at it.
Now that I've seen.
So longtime listener, first time caller, John Juanito Davey has a few questions. So his first one, Mr. Eric Levy, how tough was it to arrange all the parts for you and Carrie to fill in for Brad when he missed a few shows, and yet it still sounded exactly like Night Ranger? So, it was just a little info, like, do you kind of just play Brad's parts on your keyboards, or does, Carrie move over to Brad's parts and you play Carrie's? How does all that work?
Oh, first of all, you're very kind to say that we still sounded like Night Ranger. I mean, Brad is such a quintessential part of the sound of the band. To me, it's it doesn't matter who you try and replace him with. There's no replacing a Brad Gillis. He's just got such an unmistakable voice on the instrument. And we definitely missed him. All that being said, there were a combination of shows. Brad had to miss some shows. Carrie had surgery, so he had to miss at some point. And I kind of ended up doing a similar strategy for either guitar player being missing, which is that like if I just like play single notes and try and play like the exact same notes that the guitar players are playing, it's just not going to sound as cool. I'm not going to be able to do that dual guitar thing, even if I use the pitch bend. I mean, I can kind of sort of get close to it, but it's what I was finding really seemed to fill things up the best was I was just playing quarterly and kind of. Do I have this on? This might actually be on. Bring up the camera.
Here we go. Some behind the scenes.
Oh yeah. So an example might be Secret of My Success. Well, that's precarious. Where there's a dual guitar solo in the middle. That's up and along those lines. So I found, if I would just kind of like fill it up, it's not going to do, it's not going to sound like Brad, but at least it's going to fill out the sound of the overall thing, and let one guitar player be able to kind of be the lead voice on top of it. That's how I approached it.
Yeah. Well, I think, definitely sound wise, you guys, covered and made it sound true to traditional Night Ranger. The only thing I think, if that situation comes up again, is, Night Ranger has always been a dual guitar band. And even though you musically are covering it, I think we need the two guitar players out there. So instead of you being on just the mounted keyboards, I think the keytar needs
Oh
to make,
no.
yeah.
I-
So what you're doing is like, like Sing Me Away, you and Carrie are both doing all the choreographs, but you're still covering it on keyboard. So yeah, at the next
I'm really kind of shy. It's, I don't know, shy is not the right word, but it's, I like being on the side of the stage. I'm
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
I like having like the comfort of, I have a
Listen,
keyboard in front of
listen.
me.
All I got to do is get
Actually,
all I got to do is get Jack on board. That's all I got to do. I get Jack on board, you're out there.
Better than behind the curtain like other people.
Yeah.
So there's question number 1 from John Juanito Davy. When will Night Ranger come back to being NorCal's house band and stop being Ohio's house band? Yeah, Night Ranger does love Ohio the last couple years.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, fuck.
Isn't the argument that a Cleveland radio station broke Night Ranger out, like how Rush got
yeah,
their like radio
with
play? So
Sister
like
Christian.
there's that argument.
Oh, there's Sister Christian. What was it, WMS or something like that up there? But listen, I like Night Ranger being Ohio and Wisconsin's house band. Question number 3. I answered that one for you there, John.
sure. Yeah.
Any chance for a Garage Mahal reunion tour and new album?
Wow, there is a Garage Mahal question. Actually, I had a good 2-hour phone conversation last night with Alan Hertz, who Alan's really the dude who started the band, and there were 4 of us, and this was 2000 through I think Alan left the band in 2009, and I left the band in 2011 to join Night Ranger. So at this point, Garage Mahal is the 2 other members, Kai and Fareed, have replaced us at this point with a different drummer and keyboard player. And I'm grateful for all those years that I spent with them, and who knows what the future will bring. But at this point in time, I couldn't be happier doing what I'm doing, and being
I
here
like
with
that
you
answer.
guys, emotion,
Well,
hey, we're about to go play Puerto Rico and do the Rock Legends. It's like things are just going so great in this band. Have been for 12 years. I'm in the right spot.
You know how on Night Ranger pages and stuff, there's always people asking about, when's Jeff Watson, going to be back, or it's not the same. It's not the same without Fitz. If you go listen to the Garage Mahal podcast out there, it's the same thing. They're like, listen, it's not the same.
Those multiple Garage Mahal podcasts. So
it's not the same without Levy and Alan, man. You may like that new lineup. They do okay, but if Eric's there not twinkling the keys, I just don't want any part of it. So yeah.
Honestly, the guy who's playing keyboards for him now, this guy Osam Ezeldine, he's just absolutely burning, insane chops keyboard player. So it's I feel like they're in good hands. They got a killer player in that band right now.
And they are, like you said, got new members, and they are doing dates. So I would suggest you go to Garage Mahal something Facebook and track them down, and you can go see the Garage Mahal minus Eric Levy. And of course, if Garage Mahal starts taking off, you will hear from Eric's attorney for
get that cease and desist letter out there.
Like, listen, man, where's my cutness? And John's last question: what deep track gets the strongest audience response when you and the guys break it out at a show? So what deep track do you think the fans respond to when you guys occasionally break it out?
Which one gets the best response? Wow. I don't even know how to answer that.
I mean, I would say like some of the deeper tracks you guys play, you got Passion
Seven Wishes
Play
usually
and
go good. Oh yeah, Passion Play.
um,
That seems to get a good
Seven
response.
Wishes, or some of the
Yeah, although usually when we do Seven Wishes, we do it like second. So we don't really take the pause time to really, hear much of a response. As soon as the song ends, I'm like, hitting that drone to start Sing Me Away.
Yeah. Passion Play does pretty well. So
That's a fun one to do. Yeah. I kind of wish we would play rough, even though the
Oh, I would
lyrics
love that.
are cringy. Yeah, the lyrics are cringy. I'll be the first to say, but musically, I think it's great.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I think it'd be a good song to open with. I mean, they used to open with it back, in on the Dawn Patrol and early Midnight Madness states, but yeah. So Steve Scott. I've seen Night Ranger 6 times, dating as far back as the Midnight Madness tour. The last couple of times have been the same song lineup. I love you guys, but I cannot see shelling out money for a show I've already seen. How about a tour of deep cuts instead of the usual songs? Your audience is loyal and you should repay them with a different set lineup. Well, I will answer this one, Steve. Number one, if they did that, it would be us 5 or us 4, Robyn, Lisa, myself, and you, Steve, seeing it, because as much as we like, Here She Comes Again off of Man in Motion, the other, 1,995 people there have no fucking clue what that song is. So, but I think Night Ranger has been doing a pretty good job the last couple of years, throwing some stuff in there. They've been playing Breakout, some new stuff off the new record, Bring It All Home, Wasted Time, which was excellent. We've heard Call My Name, Seven Wishes, Passion Play, Why Does Love Have to Change sometimes gets thrown in there.
Mhm.
For what it's worth too, I would say that it's not like the band isn't aware of like, hey, we're just playing the same songs, for people, and wouldn't it be cool if they could come to a show and hear something different for a change? But it's always balancing that against whatever else is up. So it's for what it's worth, I would say if we're playing like in a theater, in that kind of venue, in say like somewhere in Ohio, where it's with people, we know that people in the crowd have probably seen us already this year. Those are the shows where we're gonna sit in the green room and be like, okay, yeah, what deep cuts can we add tonight? Tonight's the night for more deep cuts. Whereas if we have like a 60-minute festival slot, it's that's not going to be the right show for it.
Yeah, the promoter's like, hey, I didn't fucking pay you to play something off Big Life. I paid you to pay some. Yes, Cletus Van Dam chimed in after that. If that's his real name, his parents are cool as fuck. Yes, Deep Cuts Tour, another 2 album combo, Seven Wishes and Big Life, or Big Life and Man in Motion. That would be cool. But again, I mean, I think what would have been great last year, you guys played the whole 40th anniversary Dawn Patrol. You played that front to back, and then this year 40th anniversary of Midnight Madness front to back, and maybe in 2000 the next year maybe you do another Dawn of Madness where you play both, and then 2025, hey, the 40th anniversary of Seven Wishes. So, but
ooh, we'll have some new songs to learn at that point.
But
new to me songs, yeah.
Because I feel like Night Ranger, I'm in a relationship with Night Ranger because they don't listen to me. Mara Lee asked, well, she says, no question. I sure enjoyed him being with Night Ranger, and I hope he stays with them. So have you started making demands, with the band saying, hey, I'm going to leave, or you guys need to basically call this Eric Levy's Night Ranger? Have you thought about, leaving the band, or are you happy where you're at?
That's a great question. That's a really good. As we were just talking about Garage Mahal, it's I'm reminded of when that band was happening back in the day. There were like, it was kind of a cross cultural. There were 4 people in the band, and 2 of us were mid-20s, and 2 of us were in their 40s or right around 40. So it was kind of like this cross generational thing, and we were the young ones. But I remember in those days I had like this absolute, belief that, hey, I'm playing with these dudes who are all, good on their instruments, and this band should be able to play whatever I want to play. I should be able to compose whatever I want, and all these guys are good enough to do it. But then it's like the realization, like, oh, this band actually, sounds better doing certain grooves, and when we try and do other grooves, maybe not so much. And so I think that's a lesson that took me a long time to really sort out, is that it's futile no matter what band you're in, no matter who you're with, to be like, hey, this is going to fulfill me like in every way musically. I think that's an unfair burden to ever put on a band. And what I love these days is the outlet of social media, where it really makes me feel great about everything, because I'm like, when I'm doing a jam from home and I'm recording it, and I'll be like, okay, this is the time where I'm, I have 100% creative control, and it's just all about the music, and whatever flows out, it is what it is. But then it's like doing that, then that allows me to show up with Night Ranger and not have any expectation, like, oh, it's all, you guys have to let me, play the way I'm, it's not about that. It's about what's going to make the best show for everybody. Yeah,
I mean, that basically is what allows you to do, Raccoon Fornication parts 1 through 49. And if you guys haven't, make sure if you're listening to this, go to Eric's musician page on Facebook and Instagram. He's always posting these musical selections that he's talking about and writing and everything. I think really, Eric, I remember, me and you at a pub somewhere, and I think the issue that's eventually going to arise is, when you were telling me that you wrote, every song on ATBPO and you didn't get the credit. And so I think that's probably where eventually you'll see the tensions arise.
Oh, there are 2 people who should get extra credit for ATBPO, and that's the mix engineer Anthony Fox and Jack. The extra work that both of them had to go through. I remember talking to Anthony the night before he was going to start doing the actual mixes, and he was laughing on the phone with me. He's like, none of you know what any of the rest of you played. And it was so true. Like I submitted all my keyboard parts, like just with, whatever tracks that were sent to me. I had no idea what anybody else was overdubbing. So it's after everybody submitted everything, from what I understand, it was like daily, just Jack and Anthony on the phone with each other, just, sifting through everybody's parts and, trying to find a way to, pick out the good stuff and get it all to fit together. It's, I can't even fathom. So yeah, if anybody's deserving of credit for ATBPO, those 2 gentlemen.
Listen, you're being modest. We know you wrote every track on that record. Let's see what else we got here. Karen Sanders Yingling. How old were you when you started playing keyboards, and who are your influences?
Oh, thank you. That's a fun question to answer. I was 5 years old when I started, and my dad was my first piano teacher, but I couldn't practice when he was home, because it would always turn into like another lesson, which, in retrospect, I'm like, wow, that's awesome, but at the time, being a 7-year-old kid or whatever, it was, I remember the rule was I had to practice a half hour a day. And if I decided I didn't want to, then I couldn't play anymore. It was one or the other. That was the ultimatum they gave me. But in the early years, my mom listened to was listening to a bunch of like, she would only let me listen to Christian music. or instrumental music. I was so I was like, raised on like Christian rock and jazz up until like, oh, you can listen to oldies rock and roll now because that's and by the time we got cable TV in 1987, it's like, okay, I'm gonna watch MTV every day, and those old rules are kind of behind us. But so like a lot of like Christian keyboard players that like mainstream people don't really know about, the Michael W. Smith's productions on his albums, and Steve Camp, pianist. I remember checking those guys out a lot. Oh, and Andre Crouch is this gospel. He's no longer with us, but my mom loved his albums, so I would check those out all the time. But then, when I got older and started listening to jazz and got way into Keith Jarrett and McCoy Tyner and Chick Corea, and countless influences that I'm not mentioning, but yeah.
What about Carmen? Did you listen to a lot of Carmen?
Oh, Carmen. He had like those storytelling songs,
Yeah,
right? Like
I don't.
Sundays on the Way, and I want to say The Champion. Was that what it is?
I don't know. I just know I had a couple of friends, I'd be like, hey, let's listen to the new Kiss record. And I'm like, hey, we got Carmen. And I'm like, no.
My mom would have like had a heart attack if she found me Kiss.
Now
she would have freaked.
The one Christian band I did like, it was a little bit later though, and they were a little bit more speed metal, was Tourniquet.
I'm not sure I ever checked them out.
They would have came out like late 80s, early 90s. So you were already, into your secular phase of having cable and being, converted to the dark side. And Karen also asked, do you have any pre-show rituals? So like, do you throw up and put it in your pocket? Any Robyn, did you have any pre-show rituals?
Well, I would always listen through, like make a playlist of the whole set list in order and sing that through. A glass of wine, full glass of wine, just because of stage fright, and
a little bit of yayo.
Huh?
A little bit of yayo.
Yayo, what?
A little bit of.
You're trying
No.
to
Clearly not. Clearly not. No.
No,
I didn't get up to David Lee Roth level, but especially for doing Rob Halford, I just making sure I had my moves down.
So Eric, yayo?
No, that's not my thing.
What is your pre-show ritual? I know a little bit of it with you and the guys before you head out, but do you have anything just personal?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's right. As far as band rituals, a lot of times we'll have a shot of tequila, and I'll be drinking a beer. I usually I'll drink coffee like right up until the point, maybe like 7:30 p.m. if it's an 8 p.m. show, and I'll usually ask Carrie for whatever reason. I don't know if I need his permission or what. I'll be like, Carrie, you think I should have my first beer? I don't know why I do that now that I mention it.
Has Carrie ever said no?
No, he's the instigator. He's like, always. It's after the last show we played, New Year's Eve. After the show, we're going to dinner, and he hands me like a bottle of tequila. He's like, "Here, can you like sneak this in? put it in the pocket of your hoodie." So I like sneak in the tequila. Oh man, yeah. Carrie's an instigator in a fun way. But as far as like personal rituals, I guess I try to just remember to stretch a little before I go. That's about it.
Stretch, drink. Stretch, drink.
Right.
It's not about being healthy. It's just about maintaining, And I know you mentioned, drinking a beer or two as a pre-show ritual. That is also a post-show ritual, a in-show ritual. So yeah, the beer is just It's not if it's all the time, is it a ritual or is it just the way?
You know, like if you watch, if like I barely drank in this band. Like I would do the pre-show tequila shots, but I just wasn't much of a drinker for years and years and years until we did those shows with Sammy Hagar, and it was just so much fun, just so much fun to be like, because it's forgive me, I'm spacing on the dude's name now, but being on stage right was Michael Anthony's side of the stage, and Michael Anthony's been with the same he's had the same bass tech with him, I guess, like for decades, and just the coolest dude. So it's like we would be over there like with, you know, during breaks and Jack be talking, we'd just go over there and he'd be like pouring shots and we'd be, you know, all cheers and, you know, it was just good, you know, walking off stage and seeing Sammy Hagar like holding margaritas for you. There's nothing nothing like that.
You know,
So I don't know, I started drinking and found it to be kind of fun.
Sounds I can see why you would want to quit and go back to, you know, garage Mahal and riding in a van and setting up your own shit and, you know, drinking old Milwaukee.
Hauling upstairs and all that.
All right.
Yeah, things are good.
Tom Fields, I have enjoyed the music for decades and want to thank you for being a huge part of my teen years. Thank you, Fitz. Will the band have any shows around Southwest Oklahoma in the next year? I mean, maybe Tom Fields, I know he says enjoyed the music for decades. I guess if he's 21, he's going into his third decade, and then would have been a huge part of his teen years. So that's how I
guess I have been in the band for 12 years, so that could overlap.
There we go. The Oklahoma, we got the Oklahoma date in I mean, I don't know what the fuck's in Southwest Oklahoma besides like cows, but and like Altus Air Force Base. But
you know, I actually just started listening to this singer from Oklahoma who I had never heard of like before a couple weeks ago, Zach Bryan. Have you guys checked him out? No, not a hasn't his name hasn't made it over to the Rockers. I can't stop listening to this guy, and he's from Oklahoma. It's just like country music that's just real and genuine. And yeah, my commute this morning, I must have listened to his Something in the Orange song like four times in a row, 5 times in a row. Anyway, that has nothing to do with Night Ranger playing Southwest Oklahoma, I guess, but props to the state. You know, you guys are creating some serious artists out there.
What is the Tulsa, or where the flying out there?
Tulsa's a cool town. Yeah, Tulsa's got an artist community too.
Is it Tulsa? Yeah, maybe it's Salina, Kansas. I know is the other date, but there's an Oklahoma date at the end of February. So go to Night Ranger.
You know better than I do.
Yeah, go to nightranger.com. It may be there. Randy Volkovich. Obvious question for me is, does he think they will make another studio album? I hope so. So when are you going to give Jack, Brad, and Kelly the green light to work on another Night Ranger record? That's what he's asking.
I would love to do another studio album. I predict if it does happen, I shouldn't say I predict, because I'll go with whatever the consensus is, but I would love to see us, especially after the pandemic album of, you know, us all being in our separate places and all recording from home. I would love to see another kind of situation like when I first joined the band and it was somewhere in California, and, you know, just going over to Jack's every day and him being like, you know, I don't know if we're going to record keyboards today, but, you know, just show up and hang out and be a part of it. And it's, you know, there really was that kind of feeling, especially on that album for me. I would love to see something like, I know we all live in our separate cities, but some kind of way for us to all get in a room together I do miss that, and I think it makes for good music.
Yeah. I hope there's
The
another one.
old-fashioned way.
I hope there's a
Right.
another one, but we shall see. Somewhere in California, I know is one of Lisa's favorite records. So
Really.
yeah, she loves
Yeah.
that one. Oh, Cletus Van Dam. I love that name. Oh, Cletus. He wants to know how you hooked up with the band. Now, if you want the long story, you need to go back to one of our earliest episodes. And that's the long story. Eric, you want to tell the short story? I think what was it? Will kind of said, hey.
Yeah, I can give you a condensed.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes back to the days of when I first moved to California, which was I got up here in 2003. And the first call, like literally the first call I got for any local gig was to sub in at this church that I still play at here and there, like all these years later. But little did I realize that was where the Blades also attended, and the music director at the time was Willa Vankovich, formerly of the Guess Who, and now of the band Styx. So we had a good time, had some really good bands in those years, and I don't know if Will was telling Jack about me, or Jack was he had come and sat in a few times too. He had done like Christmas services with us, coming up and singing a song, stuff like that. So 2010, he was working on a solo album, and I ended up being a part of it. He got me involved, and then meanwhile, then I had been playing with Garage Mahal, and our guitar player Fareed was leaving the band, and I had really mixed feelings about what are we going to do in 2011, and we were about to go on our last tour. We had like one tour at the like between Christmas and New Year's, and the night before we were leaving for that last tour, I got a call from Jack, like, hey, so Christian, our keyboard player, is leaving the band, and we're about to do a world tour with Journey and record a new album and go to Japan. Are you interested? And I was like, yeah. So I had no idea what to listen for. I went on iTunes that night, and my old iPod, loaded up. I was like, what should I check out? I downloaded the Night Ranger's Greatest Hits, and I downloaded Hole in the Sun. And still to this day, we've never played a song from Hole in the Sun since I've been in the band. But I'm like on the van tour, like not telling anybody, just checking out the tunes. And yeah, I got back and just went on the roller coaster ride. And every time I hear anything from somewhere in California, it's like it's a little magical for me, because it just kind of takes me back to the excitement of how it all began, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a chance to get out there and rock.
That had to be a cool phone conversation. Hey, do you want to go on a world tour with Journey? Even though it would be good to pick Christian's mind of why are you leaving the band when we're getting ready to go on a world tour with Journey and record a new record.
Get him on the podcast.
Yep, I need to do that. What would have been an interesting story is if accidentally your headphones unplugged and they hear you listening to Night Ranger and all the time, and you got to convince them like, no, I'm always old jazz and 80s rock. They're my things, man. Yeah, all right, Eric. W or Ryan Fairman, what's your preferred beverage of choice? So if someone's going to run into you before the show and they want to give you a gift, what should they bring besides yayo?
Oh, thank you in advance for anybody thinking of actually, the last show we played in Japan, I went up to the front of the stage, like to during When You Close Your Eyes, we do the breakdown and just try, get everybody singing. and this Japanese dude is standing in front of the stage and motioned to me, and I go over and he hands me 2 of these, like right from the stage, which is my favorite Japanese gum. It's called Black. It's not that you'll find it in America, but it's pretty killing stuff.
It's made
so
with...
as far as beverage of choice, I like I like drinking IPAs, and I like a good bourbon, but the guys don't allow like brown alcohol of any sort. I don't know why it's off limits. Tequila's cool, vodka's cool, but nothing darker. You'll have to have them on the podcast to ask that. I don't know. Well, they say it puts you to sleep. Maybe it does, but I like bourbon. It's good stuff.
Well, for some people, the dark liquors, whiskey and bourbon, can make you go from a lovable, Tonka teddy bear to, you made green
gremlin after midnight.
This green bean casserole sucks. Bam, bam, bam. Beat the shit out of someone. So I see it.
Ooh. I wonder what the incident was that made them do that rule. Yeah, like, was there some like, that's it, we can't have any more brown alcohol around here?
Shit seems to fly, grow wings. If you drink excess, brown alcohol, we don't get channel 6, and then next thing you know, a bottle's in the air. So,
that seems more like tequila to me, though. I don't know.
Tequila's, just if you're female, tequila's a lot of like running mascara, missing half your wardrobe.
Exactly.
Shit. Vodka is, usually, a good drunk. Hey, let's go find a secluded place. Your whiskey and your bourbons. If you can't handle it, it usually turns you into a different person. Like I said, shit grows wings. Little things will, piss you off. Why?
I'm not an angry drunk by it. It's I get happier.
Yeah. Why ain't this pedal fucking working? Next thing you know, see Eric up on stage, fucking beating the shit out of his fucking keyboards. Where's my keytar? So that could be the reason why. W. Orion Fairman wants to also know, do you prefer the seedier joints after a show, or does Josh drag you to them? All right, I didn't see that question. So I guess there's that story is out.
I missed it. What was the
do you prefer the seedier joints after a show, or does Josh drag you to them?
It's that whatever that bar was that was supposed to be like the dive bar of town that we had, and that was like the most fun I had all night.
Yeah, that was. It was a nice. It was a nice bar. People who don't, go to a lot of bars, they might think it's otherwise. But I've been to some shit seedier bars where you walk in and it's like, they hand you a beer and some penicillin. So
when we played with we did the Rick Springfield tour dates 2016, I want to say, and we had done however many shows with them before. We were playing one night at the Biltmore over in Asheville, North Carolina, and Carrie, who's like the more outgoing of the group, he's like, this is bullshit, we should all be hanging out, all us bands. I'm gonna go see what the dudes in Rick Springfield's band are up to. And so next thing I know, like we're all hanging, those dudes are like, you got to come to this bar. It's like, it's the coolest bar we found in Asheville. We went there last night and they were like so psyched, like, yeah, we're going back to that bar. And so we like all packed into a van. I don't even know how we all fit, and end up at this bar, and it's just like yeah, there's like an old style sign and, neon lights in the window. And it's, just like dartboard and foosball, but that was their whole thing. They're like, we love dive bars. So that's what we're all about. And it ended up being a blast. And we ended up hanging with those guys for the rest of the summer. Super fun hang.
Well, I remember that one bar we hit in Houston, I think. It's like maybe a comic book bar or something like that. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
I
What was that place about? Wow.
can't remember.
That must have been later in that night.
That was after the show, or I don't remember, but but I know
Bar rings the bell.
I know that night we had Andy driving us, and we went to that one. Like I said, that was a fun place, and we played Night Ranger on the jukebox, and
that was all.
Just troubled Josh unsupervised and able to drink with a DD.
Oh yeah, it's not it's not good. But people recognized Eric from the show earlier in the day, so Eric got to be rock star for a little bit. And what were we drinking? We were drinking.
What were we drinking?
Well, I know
trying to keep up with you is not an easy feat. I'll say.
When they make the drink so tasty, it's but we went to a couple like restaurant bars first, and that were close to the hotel, and I think they're maybe Hurricanes or something like that.
Ooh, did we?
Yeah, I think because
Those could be good.
I think you were saying, we were talking about Todd, and I think you maybe told a story about drinking Hurricanes. I'm like, well, that's what we're going to drink tonight. And
and then sure enough, we drank Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I remember my Hurricane night with Todd in New Orleans. That was a fun one.
Yeah, so we switched to Hurricanes, and
I guess it's telling that I'm foggy about any of these details.
Yeah. So
same memory as Andy.
And he also wants to know, when are they going to let you sing more than just a few bars of "Don't Tell Me You Love Me"?
So we there are 5 of us in the band, and I am the weakest singer of us all. Like vocally, I mean, I feel competent with being a background vocalist. I can hear when I'm not singing in tune, but to actually get out there and sing lead, I mean, he's singing as good as he's ever sung in his life. Listening to him sing, it's like his pitch is just like spot on. He's got his range, he's got his power. And Kelly too, it's like, the way his voice has matured as he's aged, and it's in a lot of ways, I prefer hearing his voice now to the way that he sounds on the albums. I think he's kind of grown into his voice. But, we're fortunate to have like 2 killer lead singers in the band, and then Brad's the guy who sings all the high. Whenever you hear the falsetto stuff, that's Brad doing all of that. So yeah, usually by the time everybody's like kind of been assigned their parts to sing, I can kind of just like double somebody at that point. I'll sing like an octave below Kelly or Jack, and okay, I'm doing something. But singing lead, it's it's right.
I'm waiting.
Thanks for the enthusiasm, though.
I'm waiting for you to cover a "Love Supreme," just so in the middle of the track I can just hear Eric Levy go, "A love supreme, a love supreme."
We used to do that with Garage Mahal, except instead of singing "A Love Supreme," we'd sing "Garage Mahal." Garage Mahal.
Oh Lord!
I wonder if they still do that.
That's my only jazz knowledge I got.
Hey, you're quoting John Coltrane tunes. Yeah.
That's my questions to Eric, is like when I try to get into jazz and I listen to like John Coltrane, and I'm like, I'll send him a picture of the record I'm listening to. I'm like, what's the significance of this? And he goes, well, this was an album that was kind of like the masses could get into before he got complicated. And all I could think was, this album is complicated. It gets more complicated. So
Yeah, Coltrane got less and less accessible to the masses as he went along.
Lisa, what's your thoughts on Coltrane?
I have no thoughts on him.
Right on.
I don't know anything about it.
I just pretend.
No, that's totally cool. I have very broad musical tastes.
Well, it's like when we were driving somewhere and I had my satellite radio, and I turn it, I'll occasionally turn it to the jazz station, and I don't know what the fuck they're playing, but I turn it to the jazz station, and it shows who's playing, and Eric's right away is like, oh, it's this guy, and just starts talking all about him, and you know your shit. Michael Kabrowski, he wants you to turn the keyboards up more. So he listened to the older shows in like 83, and he says they were much louder in his opinion. So next time actually you may want to get Jack on the horn after this and say, hey,
like, hey, what's up? I didn't know I was too quiet out there.
Yeah, like let me I need you to tell Radley to turn me up.
There's the person who's got the lever under their fingers, the faders. That's our front of house engineer, Dave Radley. And for what it's worth, the band that he was with before us was Dennis DeYoung. So he is used to mixing keyboards. I know he can do it. And he's the greatest. Yeah, nothing but love and admiration and respect for our friend Dave Radley.
Brian Tyler kind of asked the questions that we've already kind of answered before. He asked, who inspired you to play the keyboards? Did you grow up in a musical household? And who are your favorite players, which we've touched? But I know you talked about your dad playing music, but did your mom play music?
Yeah, she was her career was she was a preschool teacher, and she would bring her guitar to work with her and hang out and sing with the kids. So yeah, she plays guitar and sings, and she never did it professionally, but I guess she did make it a part of her job. So I guess in a way she kind of did it professionally, just not in the traditional sense.
Well, next time Brad or Carrie has to miss, there you go. Ma, get on the plane.
I just caught the great visual of like seeing my mom up there with all the lights on her holding the red guitar,
just beating the shit out of Brad's whammy bar.
No, she steel string acoustic guitar. I never heard her play electric.
Well, you're going to find out.
Today is a day I'm gonna change everything, start